picturesque E.T. Seton Park, just a stone's throw from the Ontario Science Centre. And welcome to the first installment of 60 Plus Ebike Adventures, a series for older riders like me who are just getting into the world of e-bikes. First, I want to tell you a little bit about myself, how I got into e-bikes, and the motivation for starting this channel. At the end of last June, when I turned 63, I retired after 22 years as an elementary teacher librarian. During my last year of work, I was working half-time, and during that period of time decided to get rid of my car and economize. So, like a lot of people, I switched to using my transit pass to get around. As summer came around and I had more time on my hands and the weather was so beautiful, I decided to get out my 20-year-old Trek mountain bike and get it running well enough that I could use it for short commutes and little pleasure rides. And before long, I found that I was using the bike all the time because I wasn't in particular hurry to get any place. Put a storage container on the back and did all of my shopping. And then I started reading about e-bikes. And so at the end of August, I pulled the trigger and bought my very first e-bike. This is a 36-volt Daymak Paris that I've been riding for about 2.5 weeks, not quite 3 weeks, and I put well over 300 kilometers on it. So this is a video series for older riders, people who are interested in taking up e-biking and looking at cycling as a way of getting around full-time. So this is my new ride. This is the Daymak 36-volt Paris e-bike. These normally sell for an SRP of $16.99. However, I have seen them on HSC for as low as $1,000. And I was particularly fortunate. This was a demo model assembled in the summer of 2022. I bought it at the end of August 2023. It's in wonderful condition and I've really enjoyed riding it. I should emphasize that this is not a review. I'm not qualified to review e-bikes, and this is also not a paid promotion. What I really want to do is just give you an idea of what you might find on an entry-level e-bike. As you can see, it's a 6-speed with entry-level Shimano components. The motor is 250 watts. E-bikes can be anywhere from 250 to 500 watts, which is the maximum. If you're concerned about 250 watts being too low, keep in mind that's the standard in Great Britain. That is the maximum allowed there. The battery is 36 volts, only weighs about 5 pounds, very compact and easy to charge. A full charge of this battery from empty is about 4 to 6 hours. The bike comes with front V-brakes and a rear drum braking system. The light that you see here is connected to the power plant. It can be turned on from the control interface on the handlebars. A very popular feature of Daymak's comfort bikes is this handy little front carrier which resembles wicker but is actually made out of plastic. Of course, everybody asks about my seat, which comes standard on this and many other Daymak products, and yes, it is super comfortable. I've also fixed this shopping basket from Home Depot to the rear rack of the bike. The rear rack is standard, that came with the bike, and I use this to stow my backpack because I prefer not to wear it when I'm riding, and also to do a little bit of shopping. I'm going to do a separate video later explaining how I set that up. It's worked out very, very well for me. A key is required to power up the bike and also to remove and reinstall the battery. That's power on. So let's start talking about the controls. Right here on the right hand side, I have a number of things going on. I have my 6-speed Shimano shifter, I have my front brake, and I have my twist throttle. Now, although I've turned the battery on, I have not activated the motor as yet, so it's safe for me to twist the throttle. If I'm riding throttle only, this is how I propel the bike. It's very important to be aware when your bike is on and when the throttle is live. It's very easy to bump the throttle and the bike will get away from you fairly quickly. Over on the left-hand side, I have the rear brake, the horn, the light, the power switch, and the control panel. Now this is not live in the moment. I'm going to turn it on, and you'll see the lights come on in about 4 seconds. Now, when this is turned on, pedal assist is always available, and that can be overridden with the throttle over on the right-hand side. You'll notice this doesn't have up-down buttons and a 0 button. There are 3 levels of pedal assist or throttle. That's the third, that's the first, that's the second. So for instance, let's say I'm at pedal assist 3 and I want to go to 2. I've got to click it twice to move it to the second level of pedal assist. Other bikes with a more advanced interface will have an up-down button and even a 0 setting so that there's no power being supplied to the motor and you can pedal manually. For this one, if I wanted to pedal manual, I would need either a dead battery, which is not desirable, or simply to turn the power off. When I turn the power on again, I also have access to my light, which you can't see at the moment. It's good enough for my needs, and my horn. To assist with navigation, I've added a silicone phone holder to my handlebars. As well, I purchased this fairly inexpensive Bluetooth speaker, headlight, and device charger combo. Now, normally I just have this inside the basket, but I've mounted it to the handlebars so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we're back on the bike now, and I'm going to take you a little bit through the controls. This is not a test or a review. I'm just kind of showing you what basic controls might look like on an entry e-bike. Now, this panel is fairly standard. You see this across a number of brands. I'm going to turn on the power. 4 lights are on, suggesting a full battery or somewhere between 3/4 and full. I've only been riding for a few kilometers, so the battery should be pretty close to full. I'm in mode 1 of pedal assist and throttle. And again, there's my horn when I'm passing people on the bike path. So right now I'm in 4th gear. We're going to start it up, and you can listen carefully and see if you hear the motor kicking in. I'm going to start with pedaling. And there's the motor. And right away in 4th gear, I'm having to pedal a little faster to keep up with it, so I'm going to go up to 5th gear. And now 6th gear. And I seem to be maxing out around 18-19 kilometers an hour. So that's how far, or how fast rather, we get in level 1. Let's go to level 2. I'm still in 6th gear. I'm actually going to gear down a little bit. Takes us up to 20 or so, and now level 3. And I have to watch out because there's a jogger ahead. So now we're all the way up to we just hit 30. This tops out at 32. I really don't want to push it too hard. I'm on a trail or on a shared bike path, and I shouldn't be speeding. So we'll stop it here. And we're back, this time recording in Taylor Creek Park in East York. It's a beautiful day. I had to delay some of the recording yesterday because I ran into a sound problem. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment. So it looks like I've used up the last of the memory on my GoPro. I forgot to unload it after I was shooting yesterday. So I'm going to do this last shot with a smartphone mounted on my handlebars. Wanted to do a little bit of a test riding the bike without any power. So I've turned off the power. I'm in first gear, which I wouldn't normally be in a manual bike, but keep in mind this bike is 57 pounds. I'm 215. I'm probably carrying about 15 pounds worth of gear. The maximum payload capacity for this bike, I think, is about 265 pounds. I'm well under that, but I'm carrying a lot more weight than a manual bike. So I find starting out in first gear is desirable. There we go. Wasn't quite in, but I am now. And I'm moving along. It's not ideal, but as I get some momentum, I'm able to gear up and get where I'm going. I'm not going to break any speed records, but at least I know if I have a battery failure, as I did the other day. I ran out of power. It was my own foolishness, and I was downtown and pedaled home about 10 kilometers, and it was fine. You just have to get used to the idea that you're not going to go as fast and as far as you can on the e-bike powered. So that's a wrap on our first video together. Please like, subscribe, and follow, and if there's anything you'd like to see in future editions of 60 Plus e-bike adventures, just send me a comment.